Everybody ready? Well, good afternoon, everyone. With Memorial Day just around the corner and warmer weather arriving, it looks like a terrific weekend this weekend, we know that this is a time that we usually see a surge in illegal ATV and illegal dirt bike activity in the city. And so we wanted to take this moment before the holiday weekend to reiterate that there is no tolerance for the use of illegal dirt bikes and ATVs in the city of Providence. To those that are looking forward to Memorial Day because they think that it's a great opportunity to go out and ride, we want to be clear that Providence Police will be stopping and confiscating these illegal vehicles. And those that do get confiscated might very well meet the fate here, which is that they will be seized and destroyed or organized and or donated to an organization that can facilitate safe riding elsewhere. As mayor, I see it as my personal responsibility to make sure that our city is safe to residents, students, businesses, and visitors. These vehicles are dangerous. The use of illegal ATVs and dirt bikes make our streets unsafe and pose a tremendous risk to those who operate them. We've heard loud and clear from our neighbors that this is an issue impacting the quality of life and impacting public safety, which is why this has been a priority of mine since taking office. I want to say to the people of Providence that our strategy, this new proactive strategy, is working. The community response team, which we announced just over 5 weeks ago, has now seized 63 illegal ATVs and dirt bikes, and they have made 24 arrests. I want to thank the hardworking men and women of the Providence Police Department, particularly the members of the community response team, for their incredible professionalism. These arrests and seizures were made without incident, without people being harmed, and we're all safer for it. I also want to thank the community for using the tip line. We've promoted this a few times and I'm going to promote it again. The ATV tip line is working. What we're asking residents, visitors, and business owners alike to do, not to call when you see an ATV on the street, but if you know where these ATVs are being stored, if you have knowledge about when a ride might be effect, please call us at 680-TATV, 680-8288, or you can email us at atvtips@providenceri.gov. The community's help has been critical in making this a collaborative effort to make sure that we know where these ATVs are being stored. Our message today is clear, and I've said this on many occasions. The illegal ATV problem in our city is not one that's going to be solved overnight, but one that we can make meaningful progress on. And with the holiday around the corner, residents and business owners and visitors will probably see ATVs out on the streets. But we're going to stay at it, and hopefully everyone sees and realizes that we are making great progress on this problem. And I have certainly heard, and I hope residents have seen already in just the last couple of months, fewer incidents of this illegal activity. I'll now turn it over to the chief, and then I'll come back and take questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. And as the mayor stated, there is no room for these illegal vehicles in our streets. We are an older historic city with very narrow roads, which is part of what makes these vehicles not suitable for riding in our streets. We have all seen this ATV disobey traffic laws and put others, including themselves, at risk by running red lights and speeding and riding these illegal vehicles recklessly. This reckless behavior puts other motorists and people walking on the streets in harm's way, and that type of behavior will not be tolerated. Illegal riding of ATVs creates a dangerous situation, which is why this is a top issue for the mayor and myself. The Providence Police Department will continue to work hard to take these illegal bikes off the streets. We have officers stationed across the city this weekend, and all of our officers are prepared to take action against any illegal riding and to confiscate ATVs. Those vehicles confiscated will eventually end up here, being crushed or donated. The Providence Police Department will continue to build coordinated efforts with state, city, and other law enforcement officials to detect and deter operation of illegal vehicles within our city before it occurs. And again, to reiterate what the mayor stated earlier, we want people to use the Providence Police Department dedicated ATV tip line to anonymously report any non-emergency information they have about ATVs being illegally driven or stored. And that number again is 401-680-TATV or 401-680-8288. Or you can email us at atvtips@providencerhodeisland.gov, and I'll turn it now over to the mayor for any questions.
Mayor, have you had any alternative suggestions or outreach from community groups for places for young people to ride these vehicles in a more safer environment?
We had one meeting with a gentleman who was seeking places to ride. That meeting was civil, but not particularly constructive, and there has been no follow-up from that meeting, and so there has not been a site in the city that's been identified or not. It's our view, while we remain with an open door and will meet with anyone, that the intent of most, if not all, of these riders is to do exactly what they're doing, which is to ride in large groups on city streets. Often there's a social media component to the activity, and the idea of riding safely in an off-road environment, in a more rural environment, which is what these vehicles were built for, is not really the fun part, I think, for many of the folks who engage in this activity.
What makes it legal to seize and destroy those bikes? You want to speak to that?
Definitely, a lot of these bikes are stolen. A lot of these bikes are actually, they have missing parts. As you can see, they're just not operable. They're a risk to themselves and other citizens in our city. So vehicles like this actually end up being destroyed for the reason that we're growing. We have about 102 of them in the property room. We got to clear our room as well. And the fact that they're, like I said, they're not operable. They're reckless and they're dangerous for themselves and other people. That's the reason we're crushing them.
¿Cuál es el número de teléfono en español de un pronto?
Claro, the number, he just asked which number is it that we give is 401-680-TATV, sorry. And because you asked me to translate, so let's do this right. It's 401-401-680-TATV, es el nombre latino. He just asked me to say the number in Spanish. Y el correo es atvtips, TIPS, @providencerhi.gov.
Was the 63 bikes, this is since the inception of the task force?
Yes, and as a frame of reference, in the 3 years preceding, from 2020 to 2022, the City of Providence has seized 102 bikes. In 5 weeks, this new task force has seized over 60 and made 24 arrests. So we are making much more meaningful progress than has been made in the past.
What does that tell you about the proliferation of these bikes?
It certainly tells me that this is a widespread problem, which any resident or visitor to Providence probably could tell you the same. But it also tells me that a concerted, proactive, investigative, focused approach, which we've rolled out, is working. In many cases, because of the help of the community through the tip line or because of the hard work of the investigative team working on this, we've been able to seize groups of bikes at a time because they're being stored in a shared facility or a shared garage. And as the Colonel just mentioned in response to a question of what gives the city the ability to crush these bikes, nearly half of them are illegal, are stolen. They've been stolen from someone else, their serial numbers have been obliterated, and so this is a widespread problem, but the progress that we've made in a short period of time vastly outstrips the progress made in years past.
Mayor, can you tell us a little bit about the call volume on that tip line, or maybe how many of these seizures are linked to that tip line?
Sure. So the call value has been pretty good. The community itself they're not just calling actually to tell us that there's illegal activity going on in our city, but they're also calling us to thank us for being proactive. And from what they're saying, they actually can sleep at night now, and they're very comfortable with that. So.
And do you have a sense of how many of these seizures are linked to the?
We would probably get you that number.
All right, and one more question. What are the hot spots for this kind of activity? Where are you finding a lot of these vehicles are seizing?
So we're starting all over the city, but we have certain hot spots in the city that we conduct intelligence on, because we know that there are hot spots where they gather. And I really don't want to get out here and start telling you exactly, because obviously we know where they are, and that's the reason we've been so successful in making so many apprehensions and seizing so many within a month.
Thank you.
Did you happen to, at the beginning of this initiative, set a certain amount of seizures that you wanted by close to the 2 mark that we're coming up on at this point? And where does 63 fall in that?
Yeah, so we didn't set a benchmark for how many we hope to seize. You know, we hope to manage this problem as much as possible. Again, I've said many times, I don't think that this is going to be a problem that will be solved. I don't think there'll ever be a day where there are no illegal dirt bikes and ATVs on our streets. This is a problem plaguing cities around the country. But it's certainly, we are definitely benchmarking ourselves off of our past experience. And the fact that in 5 weeks we've seized 50% of the amount of bikes we seized in 3 years is good progress. We have also heard, and the Colonel can maybe speak to this a little bit more, other police departments in the region are taking note of our success, and I know for a fact that our team has been in contact with police leadership in New Haven that's struggling with the same problem, and they've seen the success that we've had, and they're calling us now to say what's working because we're struggling. We've also, because it's not just a Providence problem, back to Rhode Island, it is a community-wide problem and really kind of an urban core problem. And so we've been meeting regularly with, and the police department has, you know, for a long time had excellent relationships with, but the mayors in the region are also collaborating and coordinating on strategies and tactics, because we know not just the riders cross city and town lines regularly, but the better job we do in Providence has the potential to create more problems in East Providence or in Cranston. And so we want to work together because we don't want what was Providence's problem to become Cranston's problem.
Does the 63 speak to maybe the surprise and the volume of the dirt bikes and the ATVs that are still out there? What information has led you to say that, you know, we have a bigger problem on our hands than we thought here in Providence?
You know, I think, I mean, certainly we've seen social media videos, and I think at this point most of us have had a personal experience where we have seen packs, and these packs are 20, 30 riders at a time, you know, going down Atwells Avenue, surrounding us on North Main Street, on Broad Street. It's really in every corner of the city. And certainly my experience last year as a candidate for office and personally knocking on doors in every neighborhood in the city for thousands of residents, I would hear it time and time again and became convinced that this was not just one neighborhood or another. This wasn't just an isolated incident, that this was a widespread problem. And the data sure supports it. We're not under any illusions that 63 bikes represents, you know, some meaningful percentage of all the bikes out there. We've got a lot of work left to do. And this is not us spiking the football saying that, like, we've solved the problem. This is us saying we're making progress. We're making more progress than has been made in the past. And we want to encourage the community to continue to help us make further progress, and we're going to stay at it.
What about the non-profit organization, the one donation? You say you want to donate some of those bikes. What is the process?
So we're working with at least one organization now, but are open to other partnerships where we can donate these vehicles to law enforcement agencies abroad, so that these bikes leave the country and do not come back on the streets in Providence. And for certain countries, these are actually vehicles that they use in law enforcement in more rural areas. So if we can turn this into something productive, that's what we're going to try to do. And some of the bikes that are more suitable for that are the ones that we'll be shipping. The ones that you see us crushing today are the ones that have no other use, no higher use for law enforcement or otherwise. And so the best use for these vehicles is to crush them and to send them to the landfill.
Mayor, is there any concern that after these vehicles are crushed, destroyed, that you might have some people almost wanting to retaliate and you might see an increase of illegal riding here?
We are not concerned about that risk. We've been clear from day one that this behavior is not tolerated in the city of Providence. And that was true before we crushed a bike, and that will be true after we crush a bike. These vehicles are unsafe and illegal. They cannot be ridden on city streets. The vehicles that you're seeing us crush today have no rightful owner, and we're not concerned about that.
Have neighboring communities seen any sort of bump, given the intense focus your administration has placed on this, on illegal activity?
We had a meeting just yesterday with the mayors of Johnston, East Providence, and Cranston, along with their police chiefs. East Providence and Johnston reported no new issues. Cranston, similar to Providence, experiences more of this activity generally than the other communities, and they have not.
have
more
a
questions,
two-pronged-
guys, then we gotta wrap up.
Two-pronged question. One is, since you implemented the strategy, it's my understanding a lot of times you learn a little bit of what works, what doesn't work. I'm just curious, since we were at City Hall and you and the mayor announced this, what have you learned about, what's effective about what you've implemented?
I think what's effective and what we've learned is the fact that collaboration between the different neighboring municipalities, different specialized units like the intelligence division, the narcotics division, our officers themselves who have done incredible intelligence on this stuff. It's putting that team together, I think, and being proactive and letting the men and women in the community know, like the mayor just stated. It's incredibly important. The fact that we're not going to tolerate it anymore. It's just that effective, and that's why I think we'll be so successful.
And just one thing about the bikes, I noticed, with the exception of the one in the middle, the other ones don't have lights. So there was the fatality on Broad Street in Cranston. Something that the people that ride these, I don't think it's brought out enough, is they're really simply not safe. A lot of times they are riding around.
That's correct. They're not safe, and that's one of the reasons, like the mayor stated earlier, we're crushing them. They're illegal. They're stolen. They're missing parts. It's just not safe for them or anybody else that's in the streets of the city of Providence. It's just not safe, and that's exactly right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys. We're gonna move on to crushing them.
And here comes the crushing.
So you guys, I don't know if you guys want to grab your mics, because we'll move the.
Hola. I got something for you. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, you're doing good. I see it.
Good job. Nice job. Yes.
the bikes.
That was my good friend Ronaldo from your Latino Public Radio.